Well, today I'm with my friend Zhamak Dehghani. She's the CEO and founder of Nextdata, and she's the creator of the concept and architecture of autonomous data products. And their mission at Nextdata is to make data always secure, discoverable, and ready to use by agents and humans at all times. So, Zhamak, it's great to have you today.
Walter, great to be here.
Great. Well, let's start out with the problem that you're solving. I heard you say once that you can't sprinkle AI agents onto the old data architecture. So, describe the problem that you're solving.
Sure. Data to action, data to value, data to insights. It's a hairy problem for organizations, and particularly large organizations with heterogeneous like data stacks and clouds to solve. It's costly, it's a slow, and it really doesn't provide the ROI organizations need. It's built on a legacy foundation of data management composed of, kind of disparate pieces of processes that are kind of plumped together with human glue, from ingesting data to provisioning infrastructure to modeling data to running through layers of data transformation, often known as medallion architecture, to catalog the data, to give the access to data, to semantic layer, to now activate it for agents. It's just a long sausage making process that is costly, that is slow, and it doesn't give results at the age that agents can be codified and implemented in a matter of minutes. This become a more critical problem to solve, and that's what we're solving. Speed and cost and complexity of data to action reduced from months, reduced from millions to the matter of days, in some cases hours.
Got it. So, I know that you talked about how the old model is broken. I heard you talk about that, like a centralized storage of data just doesn't work for the demands that are on the data today, and it's all separate. I heard you use the words like disconnected and there's one other word you used, disconnected and lacks context. So, can you talk about that a bit?
Sure, yeah. So if you think about the history of data management, like unlocking data for some use, and initially analytics and then ML and now for AI, it's a very storage-centric view of the universe. So, once we put the data into some sort of a central storage and accessorize it on one hand with pipelines of getting data and accessorize it with kind of some sort of semantic derived from that data dump, then the problems are solved. But that doesn't really work for a variety of reasons. One, from the perspective of like the time and also the cost of doing that process. And the other reason that it doesn't really work is that for humans and now agents to be able to perform a task, whether it's answering a question or automating a function based on an intention, they need to be able to very quickly and efficiently and accurately find what's relevant to that task. So in this case, if you have an agent that's performing some task about your customer conversion or customer outreach, it needs to know where to go to find the relevant information without getting overwhelmed. And a very storage-centric and schema-centric view of the world makes it very hard because you have too much information that is really not understandable. It has lost its business context altogether. So that is a challenge around lack of context and lack of ability to get to the right information at the right time automatically. And that is just one of the side effects of a very storage-centric view of the data. And I think it's about time to change that.
Got it. So you call it data 3.0, and what you've revolutionized and what you're changing is that you're making the architecture of data more simple. So can you talk about that as your solution and maybe the making the data a product? So I found that very interesting what you said.
Yes, so data as a product was a concept that I introduced and defined as part of my work with the data mesh kind of strategy or paradigm. And the kind of the next evolution from that was that turn data into applications and APIs. So I know it seems a bit counterintuitive, but we see data and bits and bytes on disk that then you can kind of get access to it and make meaning of it. We see data products or autonomous data products at applications that are running continuously with the intention and autonomously with the intention of processing and serving domain-centric and semantic kind of oriented data with its context through APIs. So we see them really as data as applications, data as APIs versus data as a storage and data as a schema. And when you think about this world, just like Twilio that build a layer of APIs on top of a very hairy, complex telephony system, we can think about data as products and applications, a layer that is semantically designed and oriented that sits on top of a very complex, like kind of pipelines and storage and various clouds, so on and so forth, to enable rapid discovery and to enable having the full context from production to consumption, all of it, not just consumption, not just production, all of it in this kind of autonomous applications and layers that sit on top of this kind of hairy data state that a lot of organizations have gathered over many years and grappling to get under some sort of a control. And up to data 3.0, really the what organizations have been trying to do to get some sort of a meaning and some sort of order on top of the mess of silos of data that they had was that, well, we've got to build some pipelines and put them into the lake to solve that problem. So they're continuously like stuck in this cycle of replatforming and putting into another storage, and the next vendor comes into a different storage. But that's not that's just the means to an end. And I think what we are offering is the reimagination of data management and how to go from data to action. Right? Value in terms of action or value in terms of insights, and reimagining that process as a whole and collapsing that whole process into this autonomous and domain-centric applications that provide their context and data as one.
Got it. I heard you say take smaller slices of the data and put them in a container, like a self-contained unit with a URL, so they all can talk to each other, they can discover each other, and that the main benefit to that is the ability to scale. And so what's broken with the current system, it can't scale, and you need to be able to scale for the future. So can you talk a little bit about the container and your Nextdata operating system that makes it all possible?
Sure. Yeah. So the container and its runtime, there's a runtime within that container, is representative of a particular domain. Like if you're in marketing, let's say you're doing promotions. So all the information about promotions, your recent promotions of your product is captured inside by that container. But the container is not just a container of data or metadata. A container is essentially a runtime application, a runtime orchestrator that is automating and orchestrating all the aspects of data to action. And these aspects include orchestration of running the transformation that is transforming, promotions, raw information from some marketing platform into aggregation of promotions that are now accessible in different modalities for different use cases. So you might have agentic use cases where you ask about chatbots, ask about your promotions, or you might have an agent that is doing something about those promotions, sending notifications to your CMO about what's the best performing promotion that you have done or where next to promote, and so on and so forth. So they are serving, these containers are running a kind of a microcontroller, we call them a kernel of an operating system that is orchestrating kind of to soup to nuts of that data to action. So that includes provisioning the infrastructure for promotion jobs or promotion data management transformations to run. That includes orchestrating, sensing the data from those sources and running the transformation to turn the promotions into the promotion data. That means enforcing the quality rules along the way and so on. So there's a whole lot of processes that need to be orchestrated by this simple abstraction of promotions as a running application that can be with just like a container, it containerizes all of these kind of moving parts with a simple specification.
Got it.
So that's what we have standardized. We have a standardized build time and runtime of soup to nuts of data management for a domain that then has a URL and it can be interact with other autonomous data products that perhaps build something downstream from promotion or upstream for promotion.
Got it. I heard you talk about scaling like speed like 50 times faster, and that's what's necessary. So, and then I also heard you talk about going from weeks down to minutes. And so can you talk a little bit about the speed gains that you can get through your architecture?
Yeah, absolutely. So those claims are founded in actual, customer engagements. In some cases, there are 50x, in some cases, 10x. It depends on really where that customer is and how bad the current situation is. So it's relative to the current state. But we have three levers or three key capabilities to create that speed. One, we standardized and encapsulated and the whole process, as I said, from a lot of step function kind of changes that need to happen for that data to action, from ingestion to processing to orchestration to policy enforcement, so on and so forth. So we encapsulate all of that into a standardized build time declaration and runtime process. So standardization. So even if organizations deal with a diverse set of storage or compute, they have a standardization to apply to this kind of factory and sausage making of the data product. Second is automation. So we have automated a lot of manually managed or human glued orchestrated pieces of the process. So when you launch a data product, it automatically, based on declaration, provisions the infrastructure that it needed. When you run a data product, it automatically senses and orchestrates the transformation. So we have done a ton of automation that happens at runtime with our kernel of an operating system. So that's automation. And the third piece is actually builds on those two pieces, and it's using agentic technology to, we call it Nextdata, is a kind of a multi-agent system to produce those data products from existing assets and in a kind of a co-piloted or conversational manner. So use Gen AI to produce the data that then is needed by AI downstream. But that is only possible because the standardization of all of the data products and the mesh of the data products and MCP APIs that are made available to these agents to, again, accelerate that creation process itself.
Who would you say is an ideal prospect for you?
Yeah, so as of now, the ideal prospect are organizations that have tremendous amount of complexity in terms of data assets. They have, multiple like various lakehouse or warehouse technologies already. They are in the cloud. They're often in multiple clouds. So environment complexity and domain complexity.
Did you have a customer success story that you wanted to highlight?
Yes, we worked with a large CPG company, global CPG company last year, and their time to value for basic analytics use case, and even not value, time to data to a data lake, yet alone be able to discover, get access, and meaningfully understand and trust the data was the matter of months. And we've been able to really reduce that to the matter of days. We've been able to scale that to hundreds of data products in the matter of months. So both the scale and speed end to end, not just, oh, I put the data in the lake and go figure it out, but where you can meaningfully build dashboards, you can meaningfully get to talk to data. So that's the type of, kind of transformational journey that we partner with our customers to enable. And in this case, we have had great support from the organization and teams at all levels to make it possible.
Well, how should people get a hold of you and learn more?
hello@nextdata.com. That's our email, and nextdata.com is just our website. We put a ton of content there. There's an early access request, or just if you want to talk to us and say hi at hello@nextdata.com.
Well, Zhamak, this has been really cool learning about your solution and just the amazing architecture that you've come up with. And I look forward to watching the company grow and your success.
Thank you, Walter.
All right, thanks.